Okay, we got Brett Ratner talking about Rotten Tomatoes. I actually wanted to talk a little bit of length on this one, but we'll still try to go through it quickly.
Yeah. We can all just say it's garbage and move along.
Perfect. All right.
But I just like what he said, and I just love the people that defend it. Like every article I was reading, they were just defending this to the T. Like, oh, he doesn't understand how it goes.
Right.
And this is what I was talking about before, was that people that are so deep into like their critic or their magazines and stuff like that rely on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of these people work for Rotten Tomatoes in some of the cases, and then they try to explain Rotten Tomatoes, and they can't. They fucking can't.
Right.
And they stumble over their words and stuff. I was watching
it's a score that, is compiled and
this woman named Perry Nemiroff on Collider Movies on their YouTube thing. She was like so against this, and then she tried to explain how it worked, and she just stumbling over her words, trying to explain how this works. But I'm just going to kind of jump into the Brett Ratner quote here.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead.
Right,
so I got this from IndieWire.com. It's not a gaming website.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
I'm on there as well.
Nice. Look at that. 3 plugs
for IndieWire.com.
They got 3 hits
So
now.
it's basically, the quote is, "The worst thing that we have in today's movie culture is Rotten Tomatoes." Ratner said at the Sun Valley Film Festival last week, as reported by Entertainment Weekly. "I think it's the destruction of our business. I have such respect and admiration for film criticism. When I was growing up, film criticism was a real art, and there was an intellect that went into that. And you would read Pauline Kael's reviews or some others, and that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's about a number, a compounded number of how many positive versus negatives." Actually, he almost explains it better than anyone else. "Now it's about what's your Rotten Tomatoes score, and that's sad because Rotten Tomatoes score was so low on Batman vs. Superman. I think that put a cloud over a movie that was incredibly successful." And then, of course, on the IndieWire.com, they have a little note that says Ratner's company, Rat Pack Entertainment, co-financed Batman vs. Superman, trying to make it seem like he's biased. Yeah, and then the quote goes on. He says, "People don't realize what goes into making a movie like that," Ratner continued. It's mind-blowing. It's just insane. It's hurting the business. It's getting people to not see a movie. In middle America, it's a low Rotten Tomato score, so I'm not going to go see it because it must suck. But that number is an aggregate and one that nobody can figure out exactly what it means. And it's not always correct. I've seen some great movies with really abysmal Rotten Tomato scores. What's sad is film criticism has disappeared. It's really sad." End quote.
End quote.
In this article, I pulled up the other article that I originally had, and then I read what they put and stuff, and they were too busy being smartasses in between the quotes that added, so I didn't have them. That's why I went to the IndieWire one.
Yeah.
And then and I love how they ended his quote. Read that.
"How Trumpian of him."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they're calling him Trump for
Right,
pointing this out.
yeah.
Had Ratner clicked through to any of the individual reviews compiled on Rotten Tomatoes, the effect would have been much the same, but whatever. This is how these people write this shit.
Whatever.
But whatever. And a crowd of people telling you that you suck is worse than one person telling you you suck. That's fair. The ironic part is that while Ratner has received a fair share of abuse on Rotten Tomatoes in the past, his debut Money Talks scored 16% on the site, Rush Hour 3 18%, and his last 2 featured directorial efforts, Hercules and The Tower Heist, are both certified fresh on the site. So they're trying to say at first that everybody hates him and he's a shitty director, which he kind of is because he did do X-Men 3.
Well, he did Rush Hour.
Rush Hour 3.
Oh, I thought he did the first Rush Hour.
No, it says Rush Hour 3. Well,
I think he did all 3 of them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he's great. But he did do X-Men 3, which was like the biggest garbage shit movie ever. But first they tried to talk about then, he's got shitty movies, that's why he hates Rotten Tomatoes. And then they go back and say, well, his other two movies are certified fresh. It's like, no, what he's trying to say, he's pointing it out from a person, from us,
right,
from the normal person's perspective of what Rotten Tomatoes is, not the people that work for it or the magazines that produce material for the website.
Yeah, whose jobs it is to know those things.
Yeah, you're too much into the woods and looking into this from your perspective, you jackasses. Come back from the people that look at it. They click and they look at the score, and that's most of the time what people look at.
Yep.
That is what's produced a majority of the time. If you look, and we've talked about this before on our Rotten Tomatoes rant, if you look at DVDs, they have the score. They don't have the fucking Roger and Ebert love this, 2 thumbs up or something like that. No, they have a score. They use the score for a reason.
And now on Vudu, they have their ratings, and like you said, we brought this up before, and then they'll have the Rotten Tomato score right next to it. So they're advertising like this is all over the place as, oh, this is a shitty movie or this is a really good movie.
Yeah. This is what they're doing. This they even know, they recognize it as a score. You could say, oh, it's a combination of all these different reviewers and critics and stuff like that, and it's tallied up into a percentage of stuff. Yeah, it is like that on the website, and there is some of their top things, but it's hard to navigate that website for one, to even look through and try to find reviews and stuff like that. So the first thing that pops up in giant fucking screen every time you come up there is the score, the critic rating, and a synopsis of the movie.
Right.
That's what people look at, because people don't have time to go through all your shit half the time.
Yeah.
And that's how people is looked at, and that's how Rotten Tomatoes is perceived, as a number, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
To the normal person in this goddamn world, that is how it's perceived, as a number.
Yeah.
And you assholes don't realize that anymore, because you're like, no, it's a combination of all these other things, blah, blah, blah. Look at this, and it builds up to the score. Even though the critic rating could be a 4.9 out of 10, but somehow the Rotten Tomatoes score is 26.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that makes fucking perfect sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No,
yeah.
it doesn't.
It's a convoluted mess that, like you pointed out, then not even the people who work for Rotten Tomatoes can explain. No one can. And to top it off, the fan rating is usually pretty far off from the actual critic rating.
Right.
So if there was one,
especially a lot lately,
right?
It has been.
So
the gap is getting wider and wider.
I don't remember if it's the article that you just read or if it was one that I read earlier, but they were talking about no, it was the one that you just read. Well, so what's the difference between a bunch of critics on a website saying that it sucks or one friend saying that it sucks? Well, if you're looking at the actual fan perspective for most of these movies, a lot of them are going to tell you it's good, so go see it. But no, you're basing it off of the fucking critic score, and that's dog shit, basically, that is nowhere near what the movie should be.
You know what it should be? You know what Rotten Tomatoes should transform themselves as? Like Amazon. Think of it this way. Make a star level, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars. And then you can click on the 1-star reviews, click on the 5-star reviews, and number it in that system. Don't make a score, don't make a percentage to it, because your percentage doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
And
make a star rating.
And the thing
and
is,
then that to be just like Amazon. Go ahead, Tim.
the thing is, like, they have to realize how big they've become now. Like, they've become like nearly the definitive judgment on how good a movie is the Rotten Tomato score. And for it to be that important and still be convoluted and a mess, it doesn't work. If it's going to be that important, they need to sort it out and make it reliable. Right.
And it needs to be clear, like I was just pointing out with the Amazon thing. I think that's a reasonable situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You click on it, you can just, like, if you see there's 100 5-star reviews for this movie, 20 4-star, 15 3 stars, and it's like 10 1 stars, just like Amazon does for the reviews for their products. Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
Perfect.
And then you could separate it, and you can reasonably place out your reviews, because I swear to navigate that website is so hard to figure out who's from what are they actually even saying, what is their score, and then it always brings them to their website because they want clicks,
right?
They want drags. So if you want to be a true website that actually brings all these things together, don't worry about the website, the Vogue or whatever, the Hollywood Reporter or whoever it is that's making the critic that's part of this magazine. They don't have to get clicks all the time, but people can click on them later on. But show the review in a reasonable manner, and you can get an idea of what their actual score is. Right. Don't put a percentage next to it.
Right. Well, and like you said, it's so far off from their actual critic score.
Right.
It just doesn't fucking make sense.
Yeah, it's stupid, and he's right. Brett Ratner, for once in his goddamn life, is right. Yeah. And these people are so into the weeds, they can't even see what's wrong with the system, and how it's perceived through us, the common folk.
Right.
The
common folk, the working class motherfuckers.
Yeah. The ones that go to school every day, right, Tim? Yeah. Or unless they're on spring break.
Yeah.
But it's very annoying, and I don't know. I think we pretty much almost did Rotten Tomatoes Rant Part 2 here. But,
yeah, we did.
But
the sequel, not as good as
you
the
didn't know
first.
you needed. It was better because you were here, Tim.
Yes. He's like, what?
All right, so I think that's going to kind of end our little thing. We're going to skip over the flash suit because no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
We already talked shit about this show earlier. So it looks like shit. It looks like he has to be dipped in KY to run. So we'll just skip over that. So Tim, you got any final words to say about all the movie news and stuff?
Yeah, like one thing, just like trying not to be biased towards Marvel and DC, because I was looking out. I was so sure there was going to be uproar about how much they had shown in the Spider-Man trailers, but everyone just like, took a step back from their keyboards. But if it had been the Justice League trailer that did that, all the keyboard warriors would have like gotten their Razer mouse and keyboard sets ready so they could like rant about how bad DC is. So like, just like try to step back, and even with the Rotten Tomatoes thing, just try and look at things more objectively and just kind of be more objective generally.
Yes, very well put. That is exactly why we exist as a podcast.
All right, we can cut out that whole hour. Tim just summed it all up.
Yeah, exactly.
In 1 minute.
Yeah, cut our dumb voices out, and Tim is good. Yeah, so I completely agree. It's funny, and there's gonna be some sort of, people will lean one way or another. I grew up as a DC fan, so I'm gonna lean more towards that way. But going into something objectively and just trying to enjoy it and stop tearing fucking everything down. Well, we do it sometimes, but I think it's for good reason.
I think it's reactionary.
Yes.
We wouldn't have this podcast if it wasn't for reactionary type things.
That's very true. That's very true.
Our reaction to what the Rotten Tomatoes and what everybody was saying about Civil War and Batman versus Superman, when to me they're the same fucking movie.
Yes,
they
are.
They're almost the same goddamn movie, except one's during the day and one's during the night. They're the same goddamn movie to me, and I could never understand what the hatred was for Batman versus Superman and all the love for Civil War.
Yeah.
It made no sense to me, and that's why we started
and here we are.
This podcast.
Yes. Almost a year later.
Episode 36, somewhere around that area.
Yes, we're horrible.
36.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we want to thank Tim again for coming on and helping us with all this movie news, giving us those names, because we really suck at names.
Yes, we do.
And bringing in the right facts and not just random shit like us.
He helps kind of level it out a little bit.
Yeah.
He is our...
brings it all together.
He is the wind beneath our wings.
Yeah. Okay. Help me.
And I think this might be his last show.
It's like,
after that comment. So again, we want to thank everybody on our Instagram page. Our Instagram page is really blowing up lately, and we appreciate all the support we've been getting on there. And make sure you check us out on Instagram at Comic Movie Marks.
Yes.
Make sure you check us out on Facebook, and we don't really give a shit about that stuff anymore. Facebook and Twitter, not tweener.
Yeah,
Wiener?
One of those.
What?
Yeah, we are on there. It's mostly copied of stuff from Instagram.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, directly. Cause I don't fucking even look at our Facebook, so
Yeah, it's there. We get some likes.
it's like,
That's
oh, you
about
got
it.
10 notifications. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. All right. Skip.
Yeah.
So, make sure you check out our podcast at Comic Movie Marks on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. The easier app to find Comic Movie Mark podcast is Podcast Republic. Type that into the Google Play Store, and it will play Comic Movie Mark podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You can also check out our YouTube channel. That's starting to get a little
It got
bit
up to
more.
28, and then someone left, so it's back to 27. So fuck your questionnaire.
Yeah. We did that on purpose. We'll never have a questionnaire.
We never planned on it.
Yeah, but we are at Comic Movie Marks on there, so you can
Pretty much plays all the other stuff, but it's easier to get to. So
Yeah, yep,
if
exactly.
you don't want to download stuff, go to that.
Yes, you can also go to comicmoviemarks.com and you can listen to our podcast right there. We still get the same numbers, so it helps either way. Just find us.
And Shane's been tying that into the bio on the Instagram.
Yep.
So you direct link to our website from there to our current podcast.
Yes.
So that's how that works, from what I understand.
Yeah. Yes, it's a direct link.
Yeah.
And then all gets tied in together.
Yeah, you click on that, and then you can play.
Yes.
And then it plays
There's
the podcast.
a little sideways triangle. Click on that.
It's a sideways triangle.
The play button.
Yeah.
But if
the
it's
triangle.
sideways triangle, it's still a triangle.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But no, but it's like
That's what I was saying.
It's just a right angle triangle, like.
So our new intro, you gotta add that in there. It's sideways though, you know what I mean? Like the arrow points in one direction. It's not laying on its flat. It's on it, like you said, a right angle. Fuck it. I'm not explaining it.
Oh man, you're not gonna find that in a goddamn geometry book anywhere. Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that brought tears to my eyes. That was great.
Yes.
What were we talking about?
Click on the little play button. It's usually next to the two rectangles that are side by side. But don't click on the giant square.
Okay. What the fuck are you even talking about?
Shapes.
Only here on Comic Movie Marks.
In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly